This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning and welcome to the really big football show. If you are on here an hour later, oops, you did not set your clock back.
Damn.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
You'll
But
miss
thanks
me.
to modern technology, everything automatically does that. So, hey, we had a World Series finale last night. Anybody catch that game? I mean, a 7-game series. It's a great series.
It was.
Was there pun in there somewhere? Catch that game.
Catch that game. Congratulations to the World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Back-to-back. They beat the Toronto Blue Jays 5-4 in 11 innings. Will Smith, he was getting jiggy with it. Hit a solo home run in the top of the 11th off of Shane Bieber, no relations to Justin. And was the first extra inning homer in a winner-take-all game in the World Series history. Look at that. Some history on top of it. Yoshinobu Yamamoto wins the MVP. How you guys? But it was a great series in totality. You know what I'm saying? And it was a great game at the end too. It was great all the way around.
A lot of intrigue. There was a couple of games that weren't that close, maybe, but there's still a lot of intrigue throughout the 7 games of this series. Who's going to, what's Ohtani going to do? And then at the end, 2 guys you don't expect to step up at the end too. It's very that was a fun series.
It was a great series. If you're a Toronto Blue Jay fan, a Toronto Blue Jay player, you never get over this. I don't want to hear, well, we were picked for last and look what we did. People don't remember the teams that came up a little short. I used to have a philosophy. I'd rather be in the mix year after year and not win a championship than to win one championship and to be dreadful for the next decade. I'd rather win the one championship now and be dreadful for a decade. I've changed my thought process. When they have reunions 20 years from now, who are they going to have a reunion for? The championship team in any sport. They're not going to have a reunion for a team that went to the championship unless we're going to detour to, let's say, college sports, and it's a small-time college that accomplished something off the charts that they could never expect to accomplish again. And I felt for Toronto, I kept waiting for them to close the darn game out, close the deal. They would, 8th inning, Clemens hits a double, man on second, no outs. They can't get him in. In the last inning, Guerrero, the leadoff double, they can't get him in. In the first inning, Ohtani escapes with the bases loaded. So many opportunities for that one big hit. I mean, even at the end of the game, guys, okay, to see, the runner thrown out, at the plate, just by like an inch or so, an inch or two. And that would have been the championship for Toronto.
Jack, I definitely agree with you what you're saying in regards to winning one championship. With the New Orleans Saints, they won a championship and have had many bad years, but they're going to always remember that they have that one-time championship.
Yeah.
I would say that, there's a great song that, what does it take to be number one? 2 is not a winner, and 3 nobody remembers by Nelly. That's ever so true. No one remembers the second place guy in the 100-meter dash. You always remember the guy who won the race, but you don't remember the guy who came in that close fraction of a second to come, unless you're Buffalo, and you remember for all the wrong reasons for going four straight, or Minnesota, exactly.
Mhm.
You went there so many times, also close, but you didn't win. It's just unfortunate for Toronto. That was a very close series. I think they had the opportunity there. They could have closed out a little bit, but like Keith said, some unlikely names, unlikely heroes were clutch in the clutch moments, and champions did what champions supposed to do, and they are back-to-back champions. Not since 2000, the New York Yankees has anybody done that.
And throughout history, it hasn't happened a lot, other than out of the city of New York. But it hasn't happened that much since 60-ish. Since 3 times I think since then. That's a long time, and a lot of great stuff, as you said. So many and little moments that I'll remember. Right, that the bench clearing was that old blend. Yeah, if you've never seen one of those in Game 7 either, what a bunch of that's a typical baseball bench clearing, right? And my only negative, I think, through this, at least the Game 7, Jimenez there is an idiot. By the way, he thinks he's trying to get hit the pitch before, then he gets hit and he gets mad. I mean, he's a moron. So. But it's a moment that you'll remember, and crap, who's the second baseman? The name's escaping me now. Put home run in the 9th inning. Help me out. Rojas.
Yeah.
Clutch.
Only the big hero last night.
Yeah.
Great move by Dave Roberts, putting him in the lineup in Game 6. He played great defense. I mean, that play that Jack mentioned, or James mentioned, I don't know who it was now, with that close play at the plate. It's amazing that he recovered in time to get that ball and get him, because he bobbled it. Then he didn't have a great grip on it, it looked like. But he played great defense, came up with a home run that tied the game, the most unlikely. We're all waiting for Ohtani to get up and see what happens. And that turned out to be anticlimactic.
Well, guys, I'm not going to get hype about it like I was a little before the show. But in the last inning, I will make mention of it. When Guerrero led off with a double with Toronto down 1 run, man on second, no outs, they had kind of Falefa bunt him over to third base, giving up an out. Now, there's no guarantee the bunt was going to be successful, but you were going to give up an out one way or the other. I hated a play like that. If he was on first base and you want to get him into scoring position, I understand that element. I can go along with that. But to me, small ball is playing great defense in large part. And we had that throughout the series. There was phenomenal defense, by both the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And that's a big difference maker that's so often, understated. And some of those plays made, yesterday. And, even Vlad Guerrero, he made a couple of sparkling plays, sensational plays. I've gained such a deep appreciation for Vlad Guerrero. Could you imagine if he didn't sign before the season? He would have been a free agent right now. And I could just visualize the New York Mets moving on from Pete Alonso and giving him a lot more than the $500 million he made from Toronto. He would have been in the range of $625 million or so on had he gone free agent, but he didn't. He loves Toronto. He's a great leader. Heartbreak for the whole, country there, the city, the country of Canada. You never get over this, I feel, as an athlete.
Jack and I will debate, I'm sure, this bunt a little tomorrow morning as well. But again, he's got a great point. A small ball isn't just that, not just moving runners along. It is. And I said this a couple times to the group one of the groups I chat with on Facebook. Pitching and defense still wins baseball games, and there was a lot of big home runs in this series. But pitching and defense is what actually won this game or this series, and put Toronto in a position to win it as well. There were some great pitching stories. Savage is a tremendous story. He likely would have been the MVP if they'd won. I think he'd have been the MVP if the Blue Jays had won. It's just some guys you didn't expect to see out there. And Yamamoto's out there on fumes last night, and he's just a bulldog. I love to see guys like that who can go out there with hardly nothing and and just find a way to get it done. And you got to give kudos to those guys.
And when you see,
You're going to hear all this stuff. The best championship, money buys championships. You got to spend it well, and if you're doing it within the rules, there's still a lot of variables. Just spending a lot of money doesn't look at the Yankees in a lot of years. Spending money doesn't always get you championship rings. You got to do it well, and you need those little pieces, and you saw a lot of those little pieces through the series. A lot of fun.
It's interesting. Clayton Kershaw is warming up in the bullpen in extra innings, and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to see him come in. He hasn't been a good postseason pitcher, in comparison to what he's done in the regular season. He's been bad in the postseason. And you don't want to see his career end, him giving up the winning run, going out that way. So, I'm thinking, please, I don't want to see Clayton Kershaw.
He goes out on a high note. He got a big out in game 4 or whatever it was, and good for him. And that's how you want. Now you'll remember that.
But even then, you think of how close Toronto came to winning the series. The Clayton Kershaw one out. That was ball 4 that he threw, that he struck the batter out on. The ground out on. That was ball 4. Low, it got, pitch got swung at. And can you imagine the batter didn't swing at that pitch? Kershaw would have walked in the winning run, essentially. So it shows you what a thin line, it is.
I think this is such a great series. Can we all agree that this is not only great for the sport of baseball, but great for any sport to see a series like this?
100%.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was
especially the way it was played.
Compelling. There's nothing like a 7th game. If this was the 4th game of the World Series, it wouldn't have had that intensity. Everything was on the line. You look at the fans, and this bothers me about fans at an event in general. They're standing all game. Some people physically have a hard time standing. Let them watch the game. The people in the first row, why are you standing if you're in the first row?
I saw a bunch of people.
Why are you standing in the darn first row? You can see everything.
Jack's getting into his get off the lawn thing again.
No. Look, the winning run is on. There's one bat that's for all the marbles. I can understand everyone standing up, but don't be standing up the whole darn game.
Jack has said a lot of games and concerts through the years. I'm telling you right now, kicking my chair.
It's the one kicking the chair.
You know it.
But Jack, most people aren't thinking about. I get it. There's etiquette, but most people aren't thinking about that. Goes out the window when your team's like hitting a high fly. It's hard to really think like who's behind you or what's going on when you're in the moment.
No, you can get up when the ball is hit. I get all that. I'm fine with that. You jump up from your seat, but they're just standing all inning.
There was a lot of guys I saw posting in the Toronto groups, social media groups, and they're proud of that. That's what they do. It's a thing they do. We don't sit in Toronto. That's what they say. So who am I to judge what they do in Toronto? You're going to cause another international incident, Jack. Let's not.
Well, Canada's not on the best side of the USA right now, from what I understand.
Yeah,
I was waiting for the Canadian team yesterday.
Well, in the words of the great Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you last.
Yeah, that's right.
To Jack's point.
Great
Speaking
philosopher.
of first to last and ranking teams, we had number 20 Texas beat number 9 Vanderbilt yesterday in college football, 34-31. Good game. Vanderbilt missed they came back at the end. They were coming back at the end in a flurry. But wow, Texas was put them down early in the first place.
They got out quickly. Texas got out quickly, and they had a 20, 25-point lead through a lot of this game. And Vanderbilt, too late, as it turns out, makes a big run. If you saw the last onside kick, they still had a shot. They had that ball in their hand like 3 different times, and before it goes out of bounds, they would have had a great shot. They'd have had a field goal range right there.
Why did they have on the onside kick? The last person to touch it, from what I understood, was one of their defensive players, a linebacker. don't you want good hands people all around? I know you want some physical players, but let's be honest, you're kicking it to one particular area. And you want guys who could scoop in who are athletic, who could leap and have great hands. Why you don't need the physicality on the other side of the ball.
Well, some linebackers have very good hands. I think I used to watch those guys on the recovery teams. Heck, Mike Vrabel, I think, used to be on the onside teams for the Patriots.
Special teams, yes, he did. Yeah.
Derek Brooks was one of the great hands of linebackers. I mean, I'm just saying, they put themselves in that predicament with Vandy. But Texas, man, I was really hard on Texas, and not just Texas, but the hype of Arch Manning. You got to give credit where credit is due. My man put up some really good numbers, had a really good game. He doesn't play defense, so it's not his fault that the defense is allowing Vandy to come back in. So kudos. If I'm going to give you tough criticism, I'm also going to give you kudos when it's due. And he had 328 yards and 3 TDs. Shout out to Arch Manning, and I hope you continue success, young man.
I just want to say one thing on the onside kick. I'm always thinking of a new rule. When the ball goes out of bounds, and the offensive, the team receiving hasn't recovered the ball, in bounds, shouldn't it be a do-over on the kick? I mean, you should have to. The whole burden is on the team taking the onside kick, but the bottom line is the team receiving the kick could gently slap the ball out of bounds. There should be.
But then that's noticed. But isn't it the same when a fumble happens in regulation? I mean, during the game. I mean, if the team that caused the fumble can't recover the ball and it goes out of bounds, it still goes back to the offensive team, right? Is that
no, but this is a different play. I get it with that. But I would think because Texas didn't recover the onside kick in bounds, and it touched players. Once it touched, there should be like a do-over on that or something. It sounds funny, the word do-over, but I think they should be required to recover the ball.
I'd like to have a do-over on this conversation, actually.
That's a lot of shows I want to do over.
Jack is going to have his own show, own segment.
We're going to be talking about later.
Jack's going to have his new stint, like what's his face, Bill Maher does New Rules.
Yes, new rules. We should do a segment with Jack and New Rules.
No, but with Vanderbilt kind of left it too late. And did the loss hurt Vanderbilt a lot? I don't think it did. Yeah. And they're probably looking at it, even though they shouldn't, as a moral victory. Oh, look at the way we came back. We shouldn't have even been there at the end. And if you're Texas, I mean, maybe you guys could tell me. I don't understand their defense. They're great a couple of weeks. They're bad a couple of weeks. They're so inconsistent. I don't know what to make out of their defensive unit.
Yeah, they played good defense for quite a bit of that game, and then they kind of fell apart. And I keep hearing what a great defense it is, but then as you said, they have lapses here and there, similar to a team I root for in college football. But this is, by the way, a very bad loss for Vanderbilt. They have no path really to the SEC championship game, and that's their only path to the playoffs. So.
That's what I was going to ask, Keith. I was going to say, which team is more likely to make the playoffs, if any, out of these two?
Texas has a better shot right now. They've got one loss in conference, and they're probably looking at needing an at-large bid because Alabama and Texas A&M control their own destiny here to get to the conference championship game, and Texas has a much better chance now with Vanderbilt.
But although the biggest game for Texas is still yet to come, they still got to face Georgia.
I got Texas A&M too. Yeah. So. They got some big games. So.
I mean, I know it's not medals like gold, silver, and bronze in college football, but you get the feeling that Ohio State and Indiana on a kind of different category, and anyone could beat anyone in the playoffs. I get all that. And there's a possibility that Ohio State and Indiana could get bumped off, by someone before they play. But you get the feeling that it's kind of like a different level here because Ohio State and Indiana have been so consistently good all season and dominating as well.
Texas
But the other teams, have had their lapses and bumps in the road.
Ohio State had their lapses. They've won games, but they didn't get off to a great start yesterday. Penn State gave them all they could handle for a half, and they lost momentum at the end of that half. And they had a couple other moments that weren't shining, and they need to play better than this, even just to get by Michigan, perhaps, who didn't play great yesterday, Brian. But that's still look at one. You throw all records out, everything when Michigan and Ohio State play. It wouldn't matter if one of them had 11 wins and one had none. The other
obviously from last year, yeah.
So
a big indicator,
and even losing that game will Ohio State probably would still make the Big Ten championship game, but they're going to make the playoff no matter what.
They lose to Michigan, they should be forced to turn in their playoff card. Ohio State.
Oh, Ryan Day might be forced to turn in more than that.
Anyway, so speaking on some sour notes here, Keith,
sour.
What happened to your Miami?
It's like a bad movie I watch on a loop year after year. It seems. I said this team, SMU's not a bad team. They got beat by Wake Forest last week, but they were looking ahead to this game. This was a big. They hadn't beaten a top 10 team in like 40 years, and this is a good SMU team, not a great team, but Miami just keeps shooting themselves in the foot constantly. I had a chance at the end of the game, and Carson Beck, 2 games in a row now. Or I'm sorry, 2 out of the last 3 games. At the end of games, has melted down and thrown the worst interceptions you can possibly throw.
That interception was hideous, dude.
It was awful. So was the one against Louisville, but this one was just as bad. I mean, you cannot make that throw late over the middle and not see that guy.
You ain't gonna be a number 1 pick in an NFL draft. I mean, you're not gonna be in a top first round pick in an NFL draft with that kind of
millions of dollars. He's not even gonna. He's like a 3rd round pick right now.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a first round pick for sure. No. Just watching him yesterday.
Half the games this year, he's been mediocre at best. And the other ones he's been really good, but he played great against Notre Dame. He played great out of the gate, but he's really played poorly like 4 of the last 5 weeks.
He's a little.
So that being said, Keith, Miami is still 6-2 in the ACC. Do they still have playoff hope chances?
It was hurt a lot yesterday. I think they've got to find a way to get to the ACC championship, and they don't control their own destiny because they don't play anybody who's ahead of them. Georgia Tech losing yesterday helps, but again, it's going to be an uphill battle because they don't. Because of these, that's the thing in a lot of these conferences now. You got all these log jams at 1 win and 1 loss, 2 losses because of this unbalanced schedule. Teams don't play each other, so you can't necessarily close that gap. So Miami's chances they're still there. Got to win out, and I think they won't get in that large bid without getting and probably winning the ACC championship game.
Well, usually because Damian, the football is different than basketball. Okay.
Well, physicality. Man, it'd be way too many injuries to be playing that much football.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good premise, but it's not going to never happen. Not with football.
Always the guys that playing Madden always got these crazy comments.
Whoa. Okay. So, speaking of Georgia Tech, they did get beat by North Carolina State 48-36. Number 8 Georgia Tech. They were looking so good, and
bad loss in defense. Another team was playing good defense, and this fell apart yesterday on the road. I mean, road games are tough in major college football. I get it, but there's no way this team with. But by the way, a lot of quarterbacks get talked about. The best quarterback nobody ever talks about is Haynes King at Georgia Tech. He didn't play badly yesterday. This was a defensive loss more than an offensive loss. But this is, again, it kills them because it's hurt their chances now as well. It doesn't necessarily change the outcome. If they win the league, they're going to get in, right? And they still have a very good chance of getting to the conference championship game. But losing another game. They can't go there and lose and get an at-large. I don't think it's going to happen. And it hurts the ACC in general because I think the ACC is starting to look like a one-bid league and not two. So bad loss. A lot of bad losses.
That's a tough loss for them. Yeah.
Number 14, Tennessee falls to number 18, Oklahoma. Boy, Oklahoma's defense, they came to play. They were making that Tennessee quarterback, man. He looked like he was a deer in headlights.
Big win for Oklahoma yesterday. I like Tennessee a lot yesterday.
Yeah, I do.
But they're eliminated most likely now as well. Oklahoma would have been eliminated. I think they put themselves probably, if the playoff was today, I think Oklahoma probably would be one of the 12 teams. And they're probably not going to get to the SEC championship game, so they got to go the at-large route. So there's no room for error for a lot of these teams. If you want at-large bid now, you better win out. But a great performance by Oklahoma yesterday. John Mateer played very well yesterday as well. He hadn't been playing that great. But he made a nice bounce back yesterday. Good win and a big win for Brett Venable as well, because he was starting to hear the rumblings again of is he ever going to get it done?
Congrats to to Oklahoma, but I'm more disappointed in Tennessee. 2 games this year are going to really come back to haunt them. It's this one and the Georgia game. You had those games, and you just melted down. So their playoff hopes, like you said, yes, their playoff hopes are sealed with these 2 losses, and I just think that's disappointing.
And there's another couple of top 25 upsets as well. Houston, West Virginia beats Houston, number 22 Houston, 45-35, and the Utah Utes beat the Cincinnati Bearcats 45-14. I mean, they destroyed Cincinnati.
People are making noise about Cincinnati, during the week.
I was not
no more.
How good they actually are, the way they slipped under the radar. Well,
I picked them to win too.
Yeah, wow.
Not eliminated from the Big 12 race, but this is looking like it. Utah's put themselves back in the mix here too. BYU and Texas Tech are probably the 2 best teams here, and I would foresee them facing off in the championship game, and maybe both getting in the playoff.
Yeah, a couple of other teams that, unfortunately, Navy couldn't get it done against North Texas.
A good football team. That's a good football team, North Texas.
I think North Texas.
They got good defense.
They've now they're back. They put themselves in a conversation for the Group of 5 bid, because they could win that American Conference now. So it's starting to whittle down. Navy's eliminated themselves. Tulane probably eliminated themselves. Memphis is still probably the favorite. Watch out for James Madison out of the Sun Belt. They won big again the other night. They're starting to get votes in the top 25. Yeah. If this American Conference keeps cannibalizing itself, James Madison might sneak into that pick.
Yeah. The thing that always concerns me about Horvath as a quarterback for Navy is that he's not a good quarterback that is going to bring you back from behind, although he has a lot of fourth quarter finishes. But that's basically because of his run, his effectiveness with the run too, using the run. But if he had a straight out pass, that dude's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
If you watch this game, it's a fun matchup of different styles, right? Navy just wanting to keep the ball, run the clock, keep it away from you, and North Texas just out there, slinging it pretty much and looking to score every time they run a play. So it was a fun matchup of styles, but Navy comes out on the short end there.
And number 2, Indiana, they had a hiccup for about 5 minutes, and then they just it's destroyed Maryland. Poor Maryland. 55-10. And let me ask you something. Do you think Indiana's better than Ohio State?
I think you said better than Ohio State. I want to say yes. The eye test says yes, but again, until they play each other, I think the only way we're going to know is till they play each other, because Ohio State is
Sure.
and I know we got a little hiccup here. I don't know if it's me or
Indiana's been more
We're back, I guess.
dominant, but Ohio State, they're more.
again, until they play each other, I think it's the only way.
Yeah.
I agree, Keith.
Yeah,
Claire said it best. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Beat the man.
And I think you got to play them at some point,
100.
and we'll see. And they played them last season, and I thought they were really good. Then now, mind you, this year's Indiana team is better than last year, but it's still a wait and see game. You got to wait and see if they're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's the other part of playing those unbound schedules. You don't always play like common opponents, so it's hard to judge that as much as it might have been, in other years. So they're both
Now,
really
when they
good.
have the playoff matchup, I mean, what are the odds if both of them win? I mean, will Indiana play Ohio State in a championship game? How is it going to be set up? Could they meet them before that?
No, they can't. They don't play in a regular season. They're not scheduled. And they can't play till the conference championship. And there's little standing in that way, except maybe Michigan.
Maybe. It's getting smaller.
But that would be the most watched college game possibly in history if Indiana continues to dominate the rest of the way and Ohio State continues to win. They're both unbeaten at the end of the year. That's going to be an absolute monster event.
It will be a big event. Undefeated, yes, huge. Maybe not the most viewed in history. We don't get those kind of viewership numbers anymore because of just the way people watch, but it'll be huge.
So on from college football.
One quick game though. Georgia finds a way to win. We talked about upsets.
Yeah, Florida.
Again, we're on the verge of getting beat yesterday, and they find a way to win. And they're just, they're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the college football right now. They're finding ways to win games. They're not your, those Georgia teams that we saw winning back-to-back championships and almost 3, but they're finding ways to win.
And they're still in it.
And they're well in it for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Bob, I'd love to put this up here, but wow, that's a paragraph, brother. Yeah, shorten that up a little bit.
Bob, what do you got there, dude? That's my boy.
Oh. Can we go on to NFL, please? Man, let's go to the NFL, please.
If it covers up half my screen,
Bob,
1971.
Bob is actually a Patriot historian who comes.
Oh, there you go.
And I think that was a little Patriot.
Well, we got to hear a little bit about Jim Nance, Gino Capoletti, Babe Pirelli, all those old-time Patriots.
Bob can go back to everybody.
It's probably got some great information in there. We just don't have time for it. It's just a giant segue.
So we're going to hit on a few games before Keith sadly leaves us.
It's very funny. I am reading this thing though. And it's very funny. It's very true because the sewers used to empty out like down the stands in old Schaefer Stadium. He's got a couple of good points in there. Bring that up later, Bob. We'll talk about it on the Stream of Consciousness. Go ahead.
All right. So we're just gonna get to each of our games here. We're gonna start with James' team, the New Orleans Saints.
Big game.
They're going to go to Los Angeles and play the Rams. Matthew Stafford and the Rams. What's your who's going to win this game?
Oh, without a doubt, the Rams. I have no confidence in the Saints right now, except that they should have maintained their number 1 overall pick for the draft in 2026. I just think that definitely the Rams are too good on defense. They have a very good offense, and we're playing in that's okay. We're playing in Los Angeles, and so it's gonna be a tough game for them. Now, mind you, this is what I'm looking for in this game. I'm not looking for a victory. I'm looking to see how the rookie Tyler Shuck does. This is the debut as a starter, and he has a full week of practice. We'll see how he does. That's a very good defense he's going to play against. I just want to see some good play, but I'm not looking for a victory. I think Los Angeles is going to win. They're going to cover that minus 14.5.
I got to agree. I mean, throwing a rookie quarterback in against this Rams team is probably high order, but they do need to find. This is the right move to find out what they have, if they have anything in Shuck and that's just how we say his name. I haven't said it in a while. That's right, Shuck.
It's Shuck, yes, all Shucks.
Shuck.
Yep.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I had to say his name. So I don't see the Saints having really any chance here. They can play spoilers here at some point during the season. That's gonna, get a little valuation of some players. Interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline next week. Maybe still a little chatter about Kamara, but we'll see whether anything happens there. I'm not really expecting it.
Well, it's more Brandon Cooks. I would think
Brandon
he
Cooks.
would go somewhere. He would have some value.
He's probably more likely.
Receivers. Yeah, I mean, Chris Olave is not going anywhere. Alvin Kamara, I doubt is going anywhere. He wants to be a career Saint, so there's no pressure there. I hate to see this. I could see this game getting ugly, like a 35-0 Ram victory. If Tyler Shuck was a real quarterback prospect, they would have kind of been indirectly grooming him as such. You correct me if I'm wrong, James. They gave Spencer Rattler the job. If Spencer Rattler played well, he wouldn't have had Tyler Shuck looking over his shoulder. It wasn't going to happen. Spencer Rattler just didn't work out. Was it Rattler's fault? Was it a bad offensive line? I'm not going to pinpoint the reason, but the bottom line is they got to make a change at quarterback now, because with Rattler, things have went backwards. And yeah, you see what he has Shuck, but he was the 40th overall pick in the draft, meaning he's good, but not a guy who's, you're looking at as a franchise quarterback. You're hopeful maybe he could be one. And he didn't win the job in, training camp. He didn't show enough in practice where they were anxious to move towards Shuck. So, I'm not optimistic, but, for the Saints. But they do have some good pieces. And, maybe they could be turning it around next year. But to turn it around next year, you got to start making moves now.
I'm not going to judge him on being a second-round draft pick. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and obviously he did not beat out Rattler, but Rattler knew the offense a little bit better. He had a little leg up by being, having one season ahead of him. And Rattler, let's not get it twisted. Rattler was definitely a really good player. And I think he has potential to be somebody's quarterback. It's just that, again, they drafted Tyler Shuck in the second round. And again, I'm not going to judge him for being a second round draft pick, because Saints had a second round draft pick, even though it wasn't their pick. That there's going to be an unlikely. I mean, without a doubt, a first ballot Hall of Famer in Drew Brees. Drew Brees was a second round draft pick. So I'm just thinking by the Chargers, of course. Yes, absolutely. But with that said, he's got an opportunity to show some really good ball here, because the second half of the season, I think the toughest part of the season has already been played. This is probably the last game on the Saints schedule that looks really tough. The rest of the games, he has opportunities to do some damage, unless they just want to tank, and I doubt they tank. Unless they want to tank and try to keep that first overall draft pick, he has an opportunity to light some teams up. And judging from what I saw, what he did at Louisville, there's a reason they picked him at 40th overall.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I'm definitely going with the Rams too. I don't think it's gonna be over a 14.5 though. The Saints still have good defense. They have pretty good defense. I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, the next game we're gonna go to is Minnesota and Detroit. Minnesota's at Detroit at the 1:00. They're favored by 8.5. Who you got in this, James?
I'm going to go with the Lions. I mean, you just paid your premium defensive end all that money. I'm pretty sure he's excited to get out there and get after whatever quarterback's going to be out there. Is it J.J. McCarthy?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not looking. I'll be honest with you. I think JJ McCarthy has been a bit of a disappointment so far. But with that said, yeah, I think the Lions just has too much. And good morning, Miss Linda. I think the Lions have too much. I think it'll be maybe a 10-point game for the Lions at home.
Yeah, I like the Lions in this game. I'm not giving up on JJ McCarthy. I liked him coming out of that draft. He got hurt. He really doesn't have a lot of football, under his belt here. And he played one good half, and then things kind of fell apart and he got hurt. With that said, this is it's a litmus test for the Vikings. They got to win it today, or I think they're pretty much done. But I just don't feel like, other than Justin Jefferson, the rest of this offense has really stepped up around whoever's played quarterback this year. Going to be interesting with Hutchinson facing off against his old teammate from Michigan, who I believe they have a pretty strong relationship from things I've read. So that's a little bit of an interesting story point, but I see the Lions winning this game. I think the Lions are starting to hit their stride, and they're really good when they hit their stride.
Then they're coming off a bye.
Yeah. No one talks about the Viking defense, which has taken a step backwards from last year. Brian Flores defense. We keep focusing on the offensive side of the ball. I don't see this as a close game, guys. No pun intended, but the Lions are going to devour the Vikings. McCarthy's hardly played. I could see a 34-14 type game. Divisional game for the Lions. They're ready. They're not going to treat it as it's not going to be a trap game for the Lions. Lions win this decisively.
McCarthy needs to play, though, pretty much the remainder of the season, similar to Shock. Right? You got to find out what you got.
Well, I mean, they don't really have too much of a choice past him anyway.
No, true.
So, yeah, and I'm also, of course, picking the Lions to cover that. Yeah, I think they're going to win by 10. It's that game against the Chargers, man, was just telling against with Minnesota last week, and it was Minnesota just looked bad, just bad. And it's sad because KOC is a good coach. He was a great coach last year, and he got on to 14-3. But the handling of the quarterback situation to me with Minnesota has been their downfall. Should have kept Sam Darnold and just brought up JJ. As the year went by, it's just
bad. Brian, it's so easy to say that. They would have had to pay Donald substantial money. He wasn't going to be a bridge quarterback for the Vikings after the year Donald had last year. They either had to make Donald their franchise quarterback or not. And if they elected not to, so Donald moved on. They couldn't afford him otherwise, not as a bridge quarterback. It wasn't going to sign a one-year deal. Donald to remain the Vikings starter. It's the same with Daniel Jones this year. The Colts are going to have to make a big-time commitment to Daniel Jones. Otherwise, he's not going to sign with them just for them to wait and see. The situation's different. The Colts don't have an heir apparent. I understand that. But it's easy to say, well, they should have stayed with Sam Darnold. Darnold looked terrible the last two games last season.
How does he look now, though?
But you can't tell that. You don't know what he would have done with the Vikings. Chances are he would have been very good with the Vikings. I understand that. But I didn't hear Brian and I didn't hear you, James, saying, they should have stuck with Donald before today. I mean, you have to say it at the time.
No, I did say that. I'll be honest with you. I said that then. I just thought that, I said he has to accept a certain amount of money. That's what I thought because of how he played the last.
Donald wouldn't do it. If you get paid more, you go to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean,
the amount of money he's making in Seattle is not. I don't know what they're.
No, but he knew Sam Darnold. He wasn't going to necessarily be their franchise quarterback going forward because he knew McCarthy was looking right over his shoulder. And that was the Viking plan all along when they drafted McCarthy.
Jack, if the Vikings wanted to if they were so involved in keeping Sam Darnold, they would have made a play for Darnold and he would have been still there. I don't care what kind of money you would have to pay them. But they said, hey, we got J.J. McCarthy. We want to roll forward with this guy. They just didn't make a great decision in it, and he just came off a major injury. So then he's got to play. He's starting his rookie season in his sophomore year, and that's never good anyway. He's at best an average quarterback, and I'm saying this, and I'm a Michigan fan. Okay,
man.
So,
He's gonna be holding the clipboard. That's my
that's
take.
what he should have been. Yeah,
he's gonna be holding the clipboard.
I don't want to take Keith's time that he has remaining.
Sorry, Keith.
That's okay. I'm being quiet because I kind of agree with Jack here, and I don't want to admit it. So.
Yeah, no. But again, the mentality shift when you invest heavily in a player, you throw good money. It's like throwing good money after bad. The Vikings drafted McCarthy, I think, 10th overall, but they moved up one spot with the Jets and gave the Jets a third-round draft pick. So they invested all that in McCarthy. So what would it say 1 year later? Donald's our guy. McCarthy's going to be a backup from now on. It makes the GMs look bad, and then they have to answer those questions.
Too late for that.
That's what the problem is.
They would have brought him back under their conditions, but again, Darnold was never going to meet those conditions, and so
we have three people with a different opinion than you about McCarthy. You think he could be a really good quarterback? Maybe he can. I'm a bit skeptical. I think it's James and Brian are.
It's not a slam dunk. Don't get me wrong. But I need to see him play.
He wouldn't be a good quarterback. I'm just saying he in that system that he has there, he has no reason to fail. That's for sure because he's got good wide receivers, a tight end. He's got weapons there. He's got a pretty good offense.
And we've seen him play 2.5 games. That's all we've seen.
I'm going to say the best ability, though, Keith, is availability. And you have guys that have become injury bust. And so he can definitely be that if he does not stay healthy. That's the key.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Next game that we're going to go to here is the Atlanta Falcons going to the New England Patriots, Keith. Yeah, and the Patriots are favored by 4.5. Well, it went down from 5.5. Oh, interesting.
Some injuries. Stevenson's out this week. Henderson will be the feature back. They're a little thin at running back other than TreVeyon Henderson. He really needs to step up and did last week. TreVeyon Henderson probably had his best game of the season, and they probably featured him a lot more than they have. He's big this week. Protect the quarterback. Drake May, I say it every week. It's better every single week. It's fun to watch him develop the way that he has. Him and Josh McDaniel. The best thing they did was bring Josh McDaniel back here. Atlanta's been I don't even know if Penix is playing today. Is he playing or his cousin's playing? Do you guys know?
Penix is playing.
Yeah.
After after
it'll be Penix, London, and Darnell Mooney return to action.
This has been a very up and down team. I don't see this team going on the road and beating the Patriots. Now, Patriots again, the wins you can point out are not tremendously exciting as far as who they've beaten, other than the Bills. And this is an important game. This is a decent football team, right? It's not the Browns. It's not the Dolphins. So I think a win here at home is very important. I think they really need to start establishing that home field that they've been dominant at during that. That's what they were so good at home during that whole run. And they haven't been this year necessarily until last week. So I think the Patriots, and there's not going to be letdowns. That's what I'm really excited about here. I don't see this Patriot team letting down because Mike Vrabel and the way he handles this team all week long up till game day is just phenomenal and very less likely to have letdowns, I think, the way Mike Vrabel handles his teams. And you saw last week, he benched Barmore. No big deal, right? No big rigmaroles. Even Barmore doesn't say much about it. He says, I made a mistake. Hopefully I learned. Vrabel says, yeah, he violated some team rules, and we're on to the next thing. So, he doesn't let himself get embroiled in these controversies, but he's also much more open than one of our previous coaches was. It's fun to watch Vrabel with the press. I think it's great. But I think the Patriots win here, not by a lot. I think they cover, but I don't think by a lot.
What you got, James, since this is a team that's a competitor in your division? Atlanta.
Yes, I am rooting for the Pats. I definitely want them to win here, but in regards to what I think about which team should legitimately win, I think the Pats should win. I think The Falcons have been streaky and erratic. I think, you have a talented team. I think they're underperforming. They're underwhelming in regards to what the talent is there. There's a lot of first-round draft picks in that offense, and they're not utilizing them properly. Bijan Robinson, for one, last game, he should have had way more carries and touches than he did. He is your engine that drives that offense, and you're not utilizing him. I just think, and particularly you had Kirk Cousins in the game. You want to give Kirk Cousins an opportunity to succeed by allowing yourself to have a decent run game. And I just think that the Pats, they have their version of Bijan. He's just the Temu version of him in TreVeyon Henderson. I don't think he is quite the level of Bijan, but I think he's an up-and-comer, and I think he'll have an opportunity to, like Keith said, there's no Henderson. I mean, not Henderson, but there's no Ramondre Stevenson playing.
He's out. Right?
Yes, he's out. Yeah, for sure. But I like the Pats at home. And I think they started last week by winning. They proved me wrong. I thought, them having not such a good home record. They did well last game, and I think they should continue that success with this game. And I think that it'll be a close game, but I got the Pats winning.
And Stevenson being out is not a small thing. He's played very well since early in the year when he had a couple bad fumbles. He's played really well the last month or so, and it's a big part of that offense that's missing today. So, but I think Henderson might have his coming out party. Big game for TreVeyon today.
Well, there you go, Danny. See, works for some people.
Yeah, the Falcons have to have Robinson run the ball well, which he certainly usually does. And they have a good defense, the Falcons. As far as giving Kirk Cousins an opportunity to succeed, give me a break. Kirk Cousins is gas. Don't make any mistake about it. He's not a starting NFL caliber quarterback anymore. I said it before last week, James. He was dreadful last week. So put the blame elsewhere if you want. He was just flat out bad. I don't want to.
The players that I just mentioned that weren't there, like London having a number one receiver, having Darnell Mooney to throw to, not giving the ball to Bijan Robinson, those are big things.
That whole team was trash that day.
But the Falcons have a good defense. You use the key word, they've underperformed. Yeah, they've underperformed this year. They underperformed last year. They underperformed the year before that and the year before that. That's the Falcons. They're dysfunctional. They'll show up on a given week, and they could play with anyone on a given week. But they're so darn inconsistent. But New England is strong against the run. So they're taking away the Falcons' main strength on offense. So is Michael Penix really going to go into New England, coming off an injury, and beat the Patriots? I doubt it. I see New England by a couple of touchdowns, something like 28-14. But again, we don't know what Falcon team is going to show up.
To Damien's question there, I don't see Morris getting fired after this game or during the season, but he's definitely going to be in a hot seat. He's got friends in the organization, so I don't think they're going to fire him during the season, but I think he's in trouble if they don't turn this around.
Yeah, he's a hot seat when he got in the season.
Yeah.
This is like one of his seasons. He needed to show he need to turn it around a little bit here, and he hasn't done very well. This team is too talented.
Looking back, should he have taken Belichick over Raheem Morris?
That's going to be the question forever, right? And we never know. Belichick could have gone there and failed miserably, like he has in college. I don't know. We don't know. But the question is always it's always going to be he was a guy we chose over Bill Belichick. That's
but if I'm Raheem Morris, I'm thankful Belichick. Forget the last game, the way they beat Syracuse, is having a lousy year at North Carolina. Because if North Carolina was playing really well, they would be talking about it in Atlanta. Well, why didn't we get Belichick? Look what he's doing.
Great point.
They're still going to talk about it because North Carolina is North Carolina. It's not like Belichick went to bed at Florida or Alabama. He's with North Carolina. There's like little to nothing there, and he's making. Now he is going to look a little different now because like you said, you can't forget the Syracuse game because he started turning around a little bit. So, I mean, he's making, lemonade out of lemons. So sure. I'm just thinking.
By the way.
I think they carried away with
the really
bad.
Yes.
With that said, he got to. I'm just saying he got to win. It'd be different. That's different. Yeah. So you're going to look. Yes.
Jack's
you got to win.
Though, if he had gone there and set the place on fire, man, then Morris would really be the Falcons, would be under a lot more heat than they would be.
And keep in mind, this is Raheem Morris's second stop as a head coach. He didn't quite succeed at Tampa Bay.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
So let me ask a question. Now, do you think Atlanta's better than Pittsburgh?
Are we talking talent-wise?
I say talent-wise they are, yes. Performance-wise, I think they're very similar. They're going to be very inconsistent teams with really no identity. I said about the Steelers all the time. I think I can use the same comment about the Falcons. No identity on this team. Who are they? They want to run the ball.
The reason why I asked that question, because they were the team that beat New England in New England. Just remember that, Pittsburgh.
A while ago. Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
What's funny is I picked the Patriots to win 9 games this year, and 2 of them they've already lost. 2 of the wins they've already lost. So tells you how it goes.
I don't know if Jim Harbaugh would have fit that style of play.
I don't know what he was on there, even if he was offered the job.
I don't think so.
I don't think he would either.
Jim Harbaugh was in a position to pick and choose because, worst case scenario, he could have stayed at Michigan despite the mini scandal.
Yeah, I'm going with New England as well in this game. And Atlanta's got to show me something. Raheem, he's got to do a way, 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 way better job of coaching. You're a defensive coach, and you got a bunch of defensive talent on your team, and they're just underachieving. And yes, statistically, they're a good defense. They're they're in the top 10 in most everything on defense, but they flopped one game, like that Carolina game. They didn't do anything to stop Carolina, and they managed not to score any points. And then they come against Miami, who was like really bad, and they were coming off of it's bad when you lose at home to a team like that. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. Hey, before you before Keith goes, let's get a pick with the Panthers and the Packers, so Sonya can, if she's listening, we can see what Keith says about it.
I would like to remind Sonya, and I didn't comment on the text string, but her post she put up the other day with the word facts right underneath it had no facts in it because she had the wrong record for her own team, for crying out loud. They're 4-4, not 4-3. This is a team that the Packers are much better than Carolina. Carolina's making improvements. I do think they'll finish, the 8 wins or so, but they're not going to beat teams that are significantly better than them, and the Packers are significantly better than them. I think the Packers will challenge the Lions in that northern NFC North. I think they're a good football team. They play good defense. When Love plays like a top 10 quarterback, they win, and they've got a lot of ways to beat you. And I think they beat Carolina handily today.
I don't have to comment on the game because Keith represented my thoughts perfectly. I'll just give a score prediction on that, and then I won't say anything more. Packers 31, Panthers 7.
There you go. That's good. That's score. I like that.
I think they will win about 8 games this year.
I'm locking my door.
Boy, Jagby wanted to get under people's skin for sure. If Sonya's watching, I know her bridges are burning.
All my mail for the next week. That's all I know.
I got the Packers winning at home too. I just think they're going to be too much. Although I think the run game of the Panthers is really phenomenal, and I think they could control the clock a little bit. I don't think it's going to be exactly 31-7, but I think the Packers will win.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I have a lot of NFC North hate for the Packers. And to tell you the truth, man, the Packers are going to win this game, but it's not going to be an onslaught. I think the Panthers have a pretty good defense too. People don't realize how good their defense is. Their defense is pretty well. If their offense is flapping all over the place, that might be a problem. But if they continue, they just run the ball, and Bryce Young's coming back, so there's some consistency there. If they can run the ball effectively against Green Bay, it'll be a closer game than what everybody's saying it is. The thing that gets me about the Packers and you're competing against the Lions, the Packers lost against Cleveland in Cleveland. They also tied Dallas. These are games they were heavily favored in, both of them, and they didn't play up to that billing. That's the thing that concerns me. It don't, but it does. As a football person, it concerns me that they had those two hiccups.
It wasn't at Lambeau Field, though. It was on the road.
Right.
At Lambeau Field.
That don't mean nothing. Home field advantage shouldn't mean nothing if you're a good team. Period.
It shouldn't, but it's easy to be more lackadaisical.
All right, Keith.
Have a great Sunday, Keith.
Man, and have a great Sunday.
See you guys. See you at 3 a.m. tomorrow, Jack. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Have a good one, Keith. No, Jack, you were the one that's a proponent of not having home field advantage.
No. I agree. You could win on the road, like tonight, for example, this afternoon. Kansas City won't be affected by playing at Buffalo. I mean, is it always an advantage? It's a tiny advantage to always be at home. It's better to be at home than not to be at home. I get that. But when Green Bay had those two lapses where they were heavy favorites, where they played at Dallas, and Dallas is good offensively, very good offensively. Keep that in mind. They're not exactly a pushover. And they're playing at Cleveland. It's different from playing at Lambeau Field. I'll tell you that. They're not going to have if they played the Browns that game at Lambeau Field instead of at Cleveland, I think Green Bay would have won that game. And it was an aberration the way the Packers blew the Brown game at the end. They were winning the whole game by like 10 points, and then in the blink of an eye, miscues, and you turn around and they lost the game. It's as if it was stolen. They were pickpocketed in a way in that game. They allowed themselves to get pickpocketed because they had their wallet holding it out exposed for someone to run by and grab it, and Cleveland grabbed it.
Good teams don't make excuses like that, Jack. Good teams win those games. Don't make a difference. They won't have that. I'm gonna guarantee you something. This is why, and Keith could be to that point too, because he brought up something good about Vrabel. Vrabel and Dan Campbell are basically like the same coach. They coach that way, and they're different than anybody else. You ain't gonna make excuses for losing on the road. Kansas City, same thing with the Lions. He didn't make no excuses. They messed them. They shot themselves in the foot a couple of times in that game, and that's what cost them that game.
But Matt LaFleur is a good coach, though. I mean, he's an exceptional coach. You can't take that away from him. He's definitely a really good coach.
Yeah. Who don't like Halloween? He don't give up about Halloween. But anyway, he's a good coach to a certain point. Okay. I think it's the Packers' mystique as being, they're used to being at the head of that division all the time because of the failings of the other three teams in there. And sometimes you have that overconfidence. And I think that gets the Packers a lot of times too. With the
Not
fact
anymore.
that
That was during the Aaron Rodgers era where they'd always win the division. I think everyone has moved past that.
No, they were winning it through Brett Favre division, but when Brett Favre was there too, and basically when Bart Starr was there.
I think what happened, the impression made on week 1 when the Packers beat the Lions decisively, there was talk, this Green Bay team might be the best in the league, how great they were looking, and then we were shocked when they lost to Cleveland. They came back down to earth. I think a lot of us, I picked them to win the Super Bowl last year. And I will automatically thought when they beat the Lions, wow, I'm 1 year too late. The way I was with the Rams, I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl a few years ago. I picked them the year before that, and then they show up a year later. So I think that's the impression we were getting with the Packers. Listen, maybe the Packers are as good as advertised, and if they are, they're going to beat this Panther team soundly. If they can only beat the Panthers by 10 points at Lambeau Field, it's still a good win, but it's a little bit revealing because the powerhouse teams who you expect to win the Super Bowl win games like this big.
Well, they didn't do a very good job against the Bengals. I think they won by 7 points in that game, 7 and 8 points in that game. So I mean, and
Bengals were, but
And that was at Lambeau Field, Jack.
Yeah, but look at it
saying.
different. No. The Bengals stock was much higher then than it is now. You're commenting on the Bengals. Well, they're not that good because they lost to the lowly Jets. So that's how we're looking at the Bengals.
I'm
now.
not even talking about from that point. I'm not even making a comparison analysis with the Jets. I could care less about that game. I'm talking about the Lions went to Cincinnati and beat them pretty good. But then they go to Green Bay, and Green Bay can muster up like a 7-point win against the same team that basically, well, I can't say the same team because Flacco was on that team. I think that made it more competitive for Cincinnati. But at the same time, this is Green Bay is supposed to have a vaunted defense now because you got Micah Parsons and a resurgence of Rashawn Gary. So and the defensive front is supposed to be really well. These are the things that I see. It's kind of like to say, not to the extreme point as like Atlanta. Okay, not to the extreme point. I'm not trying to compare both them teams because Green Bay is far less superior than Atlanta, but they have this Jekyll and Hyde thing they go through. And I like to see consistency. And like I always say at the beginning of the season, while everybody's talking, oh, yeah, it's not how you start, it's how you finish the season. So these are still up in the air. Now we're halfway through it. But anyway, don't make a difference. Panthers are going to still lose to the Packers regardless. I hate to say it, but that's just the way it's
unless they could run the ball. Panthers have a great running game if they could run and somehow a number of turnovers, but it's a long shot.
Panthers just
Sonya, if you're out there, Jack's trying to throw you a lifeline.
Trying after he done threw shade at you for the whole rest of the show.
31-7, right?
The next game that we're going to be talking about is the Denver Broncos. This is a very interesting game too. At the Houston Texans. Texans are favored by 2.5. Houston's actually a better defense, at least statistically, than Denver. Now, what Denver has over Houston is they lead the league in sacks. I mean, by a good margin, too. Who do you got in this, James?
Yeah, both teams have very good defenses. I just think that if you look and talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team, we're talking about the Broncos barely winning, inking out a win versus the Giants. You know, when we talk about they didn't score 33 points until the fourth quarter. I think they're going to have a big loss in Patrick Surtain. He's not playing this game, I believe, right? He's on IR, right. I think, for 4 games.
Yeah. Well, he's not on IR. They saved him from IR, but he'll be back because they got 3 games and then the bye, and then he'll be back. So they don't have to put him on IR.
So he's out, and I think I saw some good things from C.J. Stroud last game against the 49ers. And the 49ers have a really good defense, and I just think that the Houston Texans at home should beat the Broncos. I think it'll be a close game, but I got them winning. I think they seem healthier, minus the running back situation. They still, even though they got that rookie Woody, I think he's okay. But I just think they're really good on offense. The rookies are stepping up because is Nico Collins and is he still out?
Playing. No,
he's playing this game. He's playing, so that's going to help them a lot greatly too. I got Houston winning this game.
I got one word to describe this game. It's going to be stingy. It's going to be line against line. We keep hearing the term games are won and lost in the trenches. And while that's true, you look at a variety of other factors, how explosive an offense could potentially be, how mobile a quarterback is, but it's line against line. Denver's won 5 in a row. I'm a big believer in vibes sometimes. Denver's not an overwhelmingly powerful team, good team. They should have lost the Giant game. They've won another couple of close games. And Houston struggled at the start of the season, but they've won their last couple of games. They're finally hitting their stride on the really good young coach in D'Amico Ryan, who had them in the playoffs last year, his first year with them. And I just see a low-scoring, nail-biter type of game with Houston prevailing, by a field goal. Again, it's in the trenches. And I think Houston's defense is marginally better than Denver's, even though you could point to the stat of all of Denver's sacks. I somehow like the Houston defense, just a little bit better, just a shade better. Even though Stingley is out, at the corner, still that could have an effect. But then Bo Nix isn't your traditional,
Stingley's playing.
pocket passer. Stingley's playing. Now, are you sure he's playing?
Yep.
Okay, so that helps Houston even more.
Yep.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain is the one on the opposite side is out.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah,
Surtain, I'm sorry, Surtain.
Yeah,
I meant
Surtain,
Surtain. I meant Surtain, but I think they could compensate for that.
Yeah, I believe in Houston in this game as well. It's really close. What they did to San Francisco was just like outside of being brilliant for the fact that they had long drives against San Francisco, which kept their offense off the field. And to say that for an offense that doesn't have a very good offensive line at all, and they did lose another guy for the rest of the season on that offensive line, which is going to be a bigger test this game against that Denver defense. And Stroud came out there playing like he played his first year. He played extraordinarily well. If they could do that, then they can win this game. Stroud needs to have that same ability. It's really all about him in the offense in this game because the defenses are going to take care of themselves. So, yeah, I say it's a close game too, but I think the Texans will win that as well. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, now we got, speaking of San Francisco, they're going to the New York Giants. Sorry. Jets are off today. The 49ers are playing the Giants at New York, New Jersey, at 1 o'clock, 2.5 point favorites by the 49ers. Who do you got there, James?
So the 49ers played a similar team in the Texans last, and they looked almost pedestrian against the Texans in regards to the defenses. The Giants have a really good defense. I think they can slow down the run, but I don't think it'll be enough. You're going up against a Christian McCaffrey. I think he's not only a runner, but he's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. And I don't see the Giants having anything on offense to offset, a good defense. So I just think that the 49ers can go up to New York and win a very close game. But I've got the 49ers winning.
I mean, this Giant team, we look at their pieces and we see a lot of good players. And we see all this potential, all this upside. But bottom line, they're 2-6. They're probably going to tease us and win a few games before the year's over. Jackson Dart will play well. And they just don't have weapons. Who do they have? Tracy and Singletary to run the ball, and they have no wide receivers who could make, a great impact. And for how long are we going to have to trust the Giant defense? I know they could have a big game. They could sack, Jones a few times today. They could sack Mac Jones, but somehow I like the consistency of the 49ers a little more, and they're a little better coached as well. I don't mean Brian DeBell's a bad coach, and I'm not necessarily saying I would move on from him at the end of the year. I might still continue to stick with him because sometimes the best thing is to stick with a guy who's been there a few years, and maybe he's eventually going to start winning, and it's going to be sometimes the best move to make is no move at all, despite a record. But, I just like Shanahan much better and what the 49ers could bring to the table. Robert Saleh, their defensive coordinator, who's even brought back Bryce Huff and made him relevant. He's had a few sacks this year, Huff, and he couldn't even make the Eagle roster for the postseason. That's how much he slipped. And Saleh brought him back to what he was with the Jets. So I got to like the Giants in like a 23-13 game. Guys, let me ask you this. Are we getting too excited about Jackson Dart? Because it's like the Giants are so thirsty for that franchise quarterback. Even though he looks good, he's very athletic. But we don't have enough of a body of work on him. I mean, I like what I see, but I think we tend to get overexcited after a few games. What do you guys think?
I have to disagree with that with him because he has flash on the field, but he's flashed with minimal talent. He's flashed with minimal talent around him. I think you're only as good as what your success is only as good as what you got around you. And I think if he had just average receivers out there to be able to catch the ball, I think he'd show a little more success. They might actually win a couple of games. I mean, that Denver game, there's no way I mean, the defense is supposed to give up 33 points, but the offense couldn't do anything. They couldn't really do much. You know, they did some things. He put them in position to try to win, but definitely it's going to be third string emergency quarterback today.
Yeah, I can.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He still got that toe injury.
Well, you want to understand what's going to happen if the 49ers continue to win with Mac Jones when Purdy is ready to come back. I mean, he's going to have extra pressure on him to perform because there's going to be some thought, well, we're winning. Why break up a good thing?
He's definitely going to have pressure on him. I just think that it's his job to lose regardless because he earned it by the way he played initially. So I think, and we've seen what Mac Jones was prior to,
Purdy's a better quarterback than Mac Jones, but the way Jones has been playing, it's
absolutely.
Yeah, I always think of the situation with Dak Prescott and Tony Romo. I mean, if Dak Prescott had not been great game after game after game, Romo definitely would have reclaimed his job without question. All Dak Prescott had to do was slip up a little bit for one game just, and Romo would have been back, and Dak Prescott never gave him any daylight.
And I think the intangibles also matter in regards to leadership. I think it speaks volumes when a rookie comes in and takes over for San Francisco when we had Trey Lance there, or when they had Trey Lance there, and you had the number one offensive lineman speaking up and saying he was just different. You know, he came into command. And when I say number one offensive lineman, Trent Williams, he spoke on him highly when he was a rookie. And he said, this guy's different. He commands the huddle, and he comes in, and he's the winner. And so,
who's Trey Lance with now? What team's he on now? I forgot.
Trey Lance?
Who?
I'm not sure. Is it Seattle? No.
They trade him from.
It could have been Seattle. Yes. Who picked him up?
Oh, Trey Lance.
Because Seattle got Milrose, their backup quarterback to Donald.
Right. No.
Milrose, a forgotten guy. Yeah.
Trey Lance is on.
Wow. Just the idea with struggling to find out what.
Chargers. He's on the Chargers. That's right.
Oh, right.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. I remember him in the preseason. Right. You're right.
That is the best thing for him, even though he's never going to get to play over Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh might like him a lot to keep him around for years, so he's going to have a career in the NFL. And who knows, maybe he gets an opportunity at one point. And if anyone can salvage his career, would be Jim Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm. He's not. He's going to be the equivalent of what Joshua Dobbs is. That's pretty much it.
But Trey Lance,
and that's unfortunate.
Is a Harbaugh type quarterback, though.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Jack. He can make a nice living, he is definitely no more than what Joshua Dobbs is. He'll come in and spell and maybe run an offense for like a game or two.
I wouldn't give up on him that much. Joshua Dobbs is never seriously going to be a starting quarterback, even though he got in, and I know he did his heroics with the Vikings amongst.
For sure,
but
that's it.
Trey Lance, I don't know what I'd give up on him quite to that point.
Well, San Francisco, even though they got Mac and Cheese starting here, they are without two of their bookends, whether they be backup or not. Gross Matos is out on IR, and Ben Huff is out as well. So Huff is out as well. So you have that, and you have an offensive line. Purcell is out. So they're banged up, really banged up. So the equivalent that they have, I think, CMC and Kittle are about the only thing that's going to keep them afloat right now. And to your point, the Giants are good defense, but they had trouble with Saquon, twice this year so far. So, I mean, CMC, I don't think at this point in his career he's as good as Saquon, but he is on that same path. So, you might want to give it to San Francisco, but I like the Giants at home.
The interesting thing is we've talked about the NFL being about closing games out. Two games the Giants had won against the Cowboys when Russell Wilson ironically brought them back. They blew that game, and the disaster against the Broncos, which they blew is there a way to say blue plus? You know what I mean? That was beyond horrible. They would be 4-4. They should be 4, and then there would be excitement. Oh, the Giants win today. Giant fans would be thinking playoffs, seriously thinking playoffs with justification, thinking we have a team that's going to get better as we go along.
And that is precisely why I think I disagree with your take on Dayball. I think he's probably going to get fired at the end of the season if they don't win enough to have a semblance of a winning record. Not forget playoffs. I mean, I think they're past that point.
Giant management is different, James. They like to see how a team finishes up. If they're competitive, they win a few games, they're playing, watchable football. When they become non-competitive, that'll get him out. And he's attached to Joe Shine, the GM. Are the Giants going to keep Joe Shine and make him fire Brian DeBall, who's his handpicked guy?
Maybe they need to get rid of both the GM and the coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, wouldn't they have done it last season when the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Saquon Barkley starring? That would have been the time to do it.
Well, we're on strike 2 then, I guess. So I guess maybe he gets one more chance, like you said. So strike 3. But then they look bad let's just say since DeBall, his era, they only had one good season, and that was with Daniel Jones, right?
And they finished the season 3-6-1. They got off to a 6-1 start and got to the playoffs, but they finished up 3-6-1, and it continued to be bad since then.
Yes.
And then they beat Minnesota, didn't they, in the playoffs?
Yeah, but then they got with no match for the Eagles.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of playoffs, we have the Indianapolis Colts going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Indianapolis is favored by 3.5. Who you got, James?
Jack, you mentioned that the Steelers, or someone mentioned that the Steelers, they're kind of streaky. You don't know which team you're going to get. And I agree. It's just hard to predict these sort of things. Steelers at home. I usually like to tell myself, James, you need to go with your first mind. And what popped in my head when I saw this game, I said, this might be a trap game. And the Steelers might win this game at home. Because the offense of the Colts is just, they're full throttle and they're just going, and there's really no stopping them. There's a possibility that the Steelers could win this game, but I couldn't do it. I'm going to regret it if they win, but I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to go with the Colts because I just think they're flying high right now. They got one loss of the season right now, and that loss was a close one against a really good team against the Rams. And they probably, by all intents and purposes, Adonai Mitchell doesn't drop that ball, they probably win the game. I just think the Colts are just too good, and I think they're going to win this game. And I don't think it may be close, but there's no really the real identity on offense for the Steelers, except you got DK Metcalf, who's a one-trick pony, and I don't see anybody else that's helping out. And I don't know. I can't ride with the Steelers on this one. That they're not gonna. They don't do well against really good teams, and I think this is a really good team, and I think the Colts win this game.
Leave DK Metcalf alone. Leave the Steeler offense alone. I mean, they're doing their job this season. Their defense, their strength has been terrible. I'm tired of the same line, Cameron Hayward saying, well, when the offense scores 30 points a game, we should win that game. Every week, the defense keeps talking about stepping up. where's TJ Watt been? He's gotten a few sacks this year. TJ Watt has been nothing but a good player this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's nothing but a good player. You're paying him superstar money, and he's a future Hall of Famer. Play like it. He hasn't shown any leadership this year. He hasn't had any identity. We look at all these players, and I'm not saying TJ Watt is like this. When they get the big contract, do they take their foot a little bit off the accelerator? I'm not saying that's the case with TJ Watt, but you sometimes wonder. A guy like Myles Garrett gets his big contract, but he doesn't skip a beat. Micah Parsons has a new team. He has something to prove at Green Bay, with his new deal. TJ Watt, maybe he's hurt to a degree. I don't know, but that's still a defense, the strength of the team. Unless they suddenly straighten out, it's more the same. The offense is efficient. That's the best way of putting it. It's efficient, but it's not. You can't expect your offense to be their identity if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, because it's usually not the case. Indianapolis going to Pittsburgh, everything's going right for Indianapolis. I just think they're better. I don't think Indianapolis slips up. It's going to be a highly competitive game. I could see a 27-20 type game. Something like 27-20. The defense of the Steelers maybe plays a little better, but plays well, but not well enough to win.
So I agree with you about the defense maybe play a little better here, but I disagree with you in regards to leaving that offense alone, because the offense or the team themselves have been inquiring about adding another receiver, particularly Chris Olave. So they could use one, yes. And they've inquired about Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, because they know the Saints are probably on it. Yes,
and
exactly.
They out there.
They try to get somebody.
Guys, if you had the great Aaron Rodgers, it would be fair to give him a B so far the way. But give him a B, not an A, but give him a B. If you gave him a C, you'd be too harsh on Aaron Rodgers. Give him a B with what he's had to work with. I mean, the offense has done their job with what they have there.
Fair enough.
They're bottom half of the league in most offensive statistic categories. The running of the ball has got to be a lot better. Their offensive line's got to give Aaron Rodgers time to throw. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been good either. And I think that's and you're right, Jack.
Efficient.
Yeah. To your point too, Jack, I definitely agree. That defense is the highest paid defense in the NFL, and nobody's playing like that. And I don't know what's going on with TJ Watt. He's had this ever since halfway through last season. He fell off. I'm I don't know what's going on with this dude, because if it's an injury, you need to sit down, bro, because you're not helping your team out. And last year it showed, in the second half when they went on that 6-game losing streak. He was terrible. I mean, he got a couple of sacks in there, but he was terrible. He's not the guy that he was in the previous years, where he's a difference maker, where he's like a Garrett. Where Garrett will go in there, not only sack the player, but get a fumble, bat down a pass, intercept the pass if it comes to it, whatever. And he's not doing that anymore, and he hasn't done that for at least a good season.
You make a great point. Difference make on defense. There are only a handful of guys like that in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett. There are only a few guys, and TJ Watt was arguably a couple of years ago, just arguably, you could say the best of all of them. You could have made that argument. And now, I mean, he's just another good player.
Sometimes the guys see another big contract, and they're probably in their latter part of their career, and they're like, man, you know what? This is for the birds. And I hope that's not the case with him. And I don't think that's the case with him. I just think that it could be more what you guys spoke on in regards to possible injury, and he's playing hurt,
It could be. Let's see with Jonathan Taylor today. If Jonathan Taylor shreds that defense, I'll be disillusioned. If Jonathan Taylor runs for 185 yards. I mean,
don't be disillusioned, because he's doing it against everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
Right.
But if the Steelers defense is finally going to step up, they step up today, they hold Jonathan Taylor to under 100 yards, they win the game, that would be a statement that maybe they're turning it around.
What is it with no moral victories there, Jack?
No, if the Steelers win, they have to win the game. I don't want to hear they played well on defense and lost.
Yeah. Well, just in that mention in itself is going to be the reason why Indianapolis is going to win. They're not going to be able to stop Jonathan Taylor. Nobody else has. He's ran for 3 touchdowns in 4 games, basically. He's going for, I think this is like the record-breaking game. If he gets 3 touchdowns in this game, that'll break the NFL record for that. But dude he's unstoppable. He's the MVP in my opinion right now. Right now, he's the MVP in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I would hit Daniel Jones and give Daniel Jones an honorable mention there, but Jonathan Taylor has been extraordinary.
Daniel Jones is managing the game very well. He's doing an above-average job at managing the game. I mean, he's resurrected his career from where he's been at, so that's good for him. I'm happy for him for that.
And he should be their starter going forward in the future, like for next year, so on. He should be their franchise guy, unless he takes a backward step this season. I don't think he's really going to take a backward step.
Yeah.
So I have a question for both of you. In regards to Daniel Jones. So if let's just say Daniel Jones throws for 3,500, 4,000 plus yards, maybe 30 TDs and 6 interceptions. Does that make him worthy of going back of the Giants' 6th overall draft pick and trading up for him? Does it make it worthy of that draft pick status?
It's a different team, but let me give a little caution what I was said a moment ago, and then I'll answer your question. I would be reluctant to pay Daniel Jones like he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I wouldn't go there. As well as he's played, if it was either or, you make Daniel Jones pay him as the 3rd highest QB in the NFL or lose him altogether, I'll wave goodbye to him. You know, I got
not even if they get to the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, that's another matter. If they win the Super Bowl and he's their QB, yeah, I'll make him maybe the highest paid quarterback in the league if something crazy like that happens. But that's not going to happen. He's more along the lines like of a Sam Darnold. You want a little more evidence. Darnold had a great year at Minnesota. Jones isn't playing better than Darnold did last year with the Vikings. We forget the last 2 games. And Darnold got a contract that allows the Seahawks to escape it at the end of the year. But I don't think they are going to want to escape it, and they'll move forward with Darnold with a new contract. But was he worthy of the number 6 overall pick in the draft? If you're going to tell me it's where you wind up at the very end, you could say yes, of course. I mean, the way he's playing now, yeah, the answer is yeah. But with how he's performed over the years, the answer is no. He wasn't worthy of it because for the Giants, look at the way it turned out. He wasn't worthy of it for the Giants, and the Colts got him for a dime.
But hindsight is always 20/20. And when you look at particular Sam Darnold, he wasn't worth it, the 3rd overall in the beginning until he got to Minnesota. And then you start to see, okay, this guy's really talented. He just needed to be under a situation where he had really good leadership and really good players around him.
Well, it's what Baker Mayfield went 1st overall to the Browns. At least he gave the Browns a couple of high-quality seasons as their quarterback. He was with them 4 years. They got something out of Baker Mayfield. The Giants got 1 season out of Daniel Jones, okay? Got to the playoffs. Does that make them worth it? It's questionable.
I mean, with any players that are drafted in the 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, it's really, this is where teams that draft well, you see that because those players turn into something because they fit the style of play that they have. A lot of teams just draft because he's the bread of the day. So you're going to go with that guy because you feel he gives you the best chance to win, even though he doesn't fit the offensive coordinator's game plan, defensive coordinator's plan, or even a head coach, period. So it's like I give a point to like Joey Harrington. Joey Harrington was a very good quarterback out of Oregon. But when he came to the Lions, that was not the place for him to be going. That's for sure.
No, but you mentioned the Lions. They drafted Hendon Hooker, the quarterback, in the third round.
That was another bad one.
Third round, there was still value. They could have used drafting an offensive lineman, whatever. But they knew Hooker wasn't going to start under virtually any, unless there was an injury, a certain circumstance. He was never going to win the job outright. Yet they used the third round draft choice on him.
Yeah.
B, we got 4 more games, my brother. Let's hit them.
Yeah. All right. So we have the LA Superchargers going against the Tennessee Titans, which are not so much Titans. Chargers are favored by 9.5. What do you got, James?
I guess we could have kept talking about the quarterbacks because this game, man, there's not much to really say about this in this game. The Chargers, of course. I think the Chargers have bounced back a little bit, even though they're still reeling from some major injuries. Joe Alt is back, I think. Isn't he back? He was back last game, right?
Yeah, Joe Alt was back.
Yeah, Joe Alt's back. Yeah, they still don't have Hampton. That kind of messes things up. But Titans are out without Simmons, and it's just a crap show in Tennessee. I like the Chargers, even away. It's just they're a much better team, and I feel bad for Cam. I think he needs some weapons. He needs everything. He needs the soup to nuts is what he needs. So the Chargers are definitely going to win this game. I have really not much to say about that.
You know, we got to do picks with our head, now with our heart. I just have a gut feeling the Titans are going to play a very close game today at home against the Chargers. The Chargers will eventually prevail, something like 23-20. I'm still picking the Chargers to win. I'm not picking the Titans to win. I know Simmons is out. Their defense has been a mess. Their offensive line, Cam Ward's been running for his life. I mean, you got to give him I've been a little hard on Cam Ward, wondering, how good he is. It's not a good situation that Cam Ward is in. Has he established himself as a leader? Listen, I don't think so. They changed coaches during the year. What does that mean for Cam Ward's development? You draft a player first overall in the draft, he's got to be linked with the coach that's going to develop him the right way if you have that type of faith in the player. Mm-hmm. What do? They fire their coach during the year. And it's I don't know how much better it's going to be, but the Chargers got all these injuries. I mean, they played better the last couple of weeks, but there's still holes with the Chargers. I just get the feeling the Titans, are going to expose some of the Chargers' weaknesses, even though the Titans have a bunch of their own. Close game. Chargers like 23-20. And I could see the Chargers, if there's a game that they're going to take their foot off the accelerator a little bit, like all teams do during the season. Don't kid yourself. Not all teams are up for every single game. I don't want to hear about being professional, what you should be. You're human. You can't get up for every game. Even as fans of our team, we're not up equally for every game. We're just not. Some games we're a little more psyched for than the others. And I could see the Chargers just it being a business trip, and they'll take care of business at the end, win on a field goal. 23-20.
So, Jack, are you prophetic? Did you have a premonition last night or something? What do you know that I don't know?
I'm doing it on the feeling. I'm with certain vibes. Logically speaking, the Titans are so bad. They shouldn't be, holding the Chargers close. The Chargers should win this game, something like 31 6 or whatever with my head. But I just get the feeling that the Chargers have been a bit dysfunctional this year. I mean, their record isn't disappointing, but the way they played has been. Justin Herbert's gotten it back together the last couple of weeks, but he had a span where he started the season well, then wasn't playing as well. Their running game, would bail them out at times, and their defense was a little spotty. But
Well,
I'm picking the Chargers. I'm not picking them to lose. I just think it's going to be a surprisingly close game.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna say it like this: if you have one of those leagues where you have to pick a team to win, a sure pick team to win, or else you're out. If you don't win that, this is the week that you pick the Chargers. If you have
you picked the
them,
Rams.
yes.
Sorry, James. If you could only pick one team to win and your life depends on it, I think you picked the Rams today. You don't pick the Chargers.
You picked the Chargers because the Titans are like, the one that they got was given to them by the Cardinals, basically. Let's put it there.
I think at Tennessee as well. Yeah, we have other games, so I'm going to get off it. I think at Tennessee as well. I know your home games do mean something. I just feel we maybe put too much emphasis on it, but I feel it's a nothing to lose thing. I think the Titans are going to play with enthusiasm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next game is Chicago Bears at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bears are favored by 2.5. There's no DeAndre Swift in this game. Luther is not in this game either. Flacco is starting in this game. So he is going to start in this game. So who do you got?
Falco is the replacement player. Yeah, so Flacco he's a replacement player, and he's been doing actually pretty well in considering he's replaced Joe Burrow. But with that said, even though those two players are missing, I still like the Bears, man. I just think that the offense, rather the defense for Cincinnati is bad. That is so bad that even if you have some glaring weaknesses in your offense, they don't get exposed because that defense is just that horrible they give up points. And mind you, and I think the Bears defense is good enough to slow down, even though the Bears had to pick up CJ GJ. They needed a cornerback, so they needed some cornerback help. So it's probably going to be a high scoring game. I like the Bears in this one. Away, even though they're not playing at home, I like the Bears to squeak out a win in this one.
Stevenson is going to be back to their other corner, so that'll help a little bit. Not much, but against that, that tandem that they have over there in Cincinnati. Who you got, Jack?
Yeah, Bears need a lot of work. They commit so many penalties. They can't score from in close. No team needs more adjustments than the Bears, but they got the talent. They got a lot of talent there. And the Bengals are dysfunctional at this point. They might be the most dysfunctional team in the NFL. And Trey Hendrickson is hurt. I guess he's going to be playing, but if you saw him against the Jets, he was a non-factor. And he's on a trade block. So what's his thought process? His name is popping up all over, but I don't know. What the Bengals going to move on from them, especially if they win today. They'll still have playoff aspirations. And let's put in perspective with Joe Flacco. He could manage the offense, but coming off the loss to the Jets, they were embarrassed. So if the Bengals don't bounce back today and beat the Bears after their loss to the Jets, it's going to look gloomy going forward, and I suspect certain players are going to gently quit on the team. But I'll go with the Bears to win this game on the road. I just, I think there's more upside there, the talent level. And the Bengals are just darn dysfunctional. That's all I could say about them.
Yeah, I think Chicago not having Luther and Swift is a big part of that offense. I think that with those two guys missing for Chicago, that takes away a lot of things that Ben Johnson likes to do. And even against a bad defense,
anyone could run the ball on the Bengal defense. You
still have your tight ends in the game, man. Cole Kmet and Loveland. You have options, is what I'm saying, especially against that defense.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think I got the Bears in this one. Ugh, hurts me to say that. All right, Next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Las Vegas Raiders. Jaguars are favored by 2.5. We got James.
that
Yeah, that's one of those
Travis
games.
Hunter is a big one, not having him in the game. I mean, this is where Brian Thomas Jr. has to step up and go into a hostile environment.
Playing, right, James? He's not out.
No, he's out.
He's definitely out.
Yeah, Travis Hunter.
He's on IR. He's on IR. No, he's on IR. He's out. Yeah, he's out. So next 4 games he's out. Yeah. That's a big deal for them, and I think you got to step up if you're Brian Thomas Jr. But I think this is an opportunity for the Raiders to get an upset here. I think the Raiders are going to win. I think at home. I like Ashton Genty running the ball, and I like them getting Brock Bowers the ball. I just think that's it's gonna. I like Liam Cohen. I like him as a head coach, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if they win this game. But I think this is an opportunity for the Raiders to get a win at home. So.
I'm going just the opposite. My heart says the Raiders are going to win this game. You just look at their individual players. You're waiting for Genty to have that one big breakout game, a running back, that one sensational game that justifies him being picked where he was in the draft. Max Crosby's having a pretty good year. Okay, but that's not unexpected because Max Crosby's the difference maker. Brock Bowers being back, even though he's a little hurt, he's a difference maker. Geno Smith, you know what he's done with Pete Carroll before. But something about this game that, Jacksonville's just a little more solid, a little more consistent. With Travis Hunter out, I don't think Travis Hunter, though, is quite a difference maker yet. He's ultimately going to be one, but Jacksonville is going to be minus a very good player in Travis Hunter for one game. But I think Jacksonville, I'll take him in the squeaker 2017. But if the Raiders are going to do anything the rest of the year, it really has to start today.
But this is, before you go, B, I want to say this. I agree with you, what you're saying, but I think this is where the motivation, like what you mentioned about Ashton Genty, they were both taken very high. And so one's not in the game, and the other's got to be in the game and say, you know what, I got to step up and show that, I'm still here. I'm. There's a reason you picked me. Was he number 3? Number 6? What was he? Ashton Genty.
3. 6.
But Genty, yeah,
6,
but a guy could be as motivated as possible. The question is Genty that good? You brought that up in the past show, I think. Now people are thinking Amari Hampton should have gone ahead of him.
I thought that before the draft. I said Amari Hampton was probably.
As motivated as Genty could be, he might just be another guy, when all is said and done, that was drafted really high.
And a guy that got all those yards by playing in a weaker league in college, weaker conference.
Let him prove it. He does have something very much to prove, Genty.
Yes. I think he has a big game here. I'm making a bold statement by saying he has a big game here and they win. My bad, B. Go ahead.
Yeah, they don't. I don't trust Vegas, and I don't trust Jags. But like Brent said, I had to do a coin flip, and I had to go against you on this one, Brent. But the coin flip would go the Raiders' way if I, flip.
Yeah, we have 3 games to go. I'm going to talk a little less for the rest of the show.
Really, Jack? You think?
Really, we're on the clock. We're on the clock. And I used up all my timeouts. I got to go out of bounds.
You got to go and get all kinds of whack draft picks now.
You already been out of bounds, sir.
We got the big game of the day: Kansas City at Buffalo. Kansas City is favored by 2.5. Who you got, James?
I am going with Kansas City. I like the Bills. I think they're a really good team. I still think they have a bad rush defense. It's number 31st in the league. Even though it's Pacheco, is he going to be out?
I think he's playing. Let me see if
Pacheco's out.
He's out. I think you're right. We mentioned it yesterday. Kareem Hunt,
Yeah.
he should have a good game because I just think, and they can control the clock that way. And then I just like Mahomes better than Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's a great player. He's an MVP. He's a Super Bowl guy. But in regards, well, not Mahomes better than Allen. Mahomes plus Andy Reid versus Josh Allen and his coach. I think they run a better system together, and I think they're going to win that game. But it'll be close. It'll be very tight.
Yeah, I'll go with, I basically agree with you. I'll go with the Chiefs on the squeaker, like whoever has the ball last or whatever. It's going to come down to final possession one way or the other. The Chiefs are just playing a little better right now. I know Buffalo played well coming off the bye week, beating Carolina 40-9. But they lost a couple of games before that, and
you have to say the score.
I mean, how much
that Jack does.
Buffalo
We're showing you. I know she's watching.
For the Chiefs, so I like the Chiefs in the squeak. A true toss-up game, though.
Yeah, I got Buffalo at home. Buffalo has beaten the Chiefs. They're 4-1 against the Chiefs in the regular season. Where they can't beat them at definitely is in the playoffs. But while you're saying that they have a bad run defense, they do have one of the top 10 pass defense. So they're up there against the pass. So we'll see what happens with that. I know Patrick Mahomes is an extraordinary different quarterback than most quarterbacks you face on Sunday. But with it being what this said, it's Buffalo's going to be up for this game. They know they got to win some games. Besides, both of these teams really need to win this game. That's why I think it's going to be a really good game because both of them are in second place right now. So they're used to being on top, and they're not.
Right.
All right, Seattle at Washington. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Washington Commandos. Seattle's favored by 3.5. James, what do you got?
I'm going to agree with that. I just think that Washington, there's no depth there. So you look at how they won last year. They won close games, and they on the back of a outstanding rookie quarterback. Now they're in a situation where he's got some injuries going, and they don't have the top wide receiver there. He's out again. So and Seattle's just been dominant. They've just been really, when I say dominant, not necessarily in the scoring category, but just overall as a whole team collectively. They look great in all facets. And so they look like a really good team that's going to make the playoffs and make some noise probably when they get to the playoffs. And so I just think that they're going to win. It may be more than 3. I think it'll be probably about 7 to 10 points in a victory.
It's a desperate situation for the Commanders. I mean, they lose this game, their chances of making a run as a wild card, are going to be greatly diminished. Forget about them winning the division. This Commander team's not as good as we thought they were, based on last year going to the NFC Championship game. And I'm not blaming Jaden Daniels for it. It's their Commander defense, which has been terrible for the most part. Seattle is really, under Mike McDonald, they've overachieved as far as I'm concerned. I look for them to come down to earth a bit. I think the Commanders have a desperate situation at home. They absolutely have to win this game. They need it a lot more than Seattle. I think the Commanders do get it done. I could see them winning like something like 24-19.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm not that pessimistic about Commanders. They don't have Scary Terry. The Seattle Seahawks got a pretty good run defense too. So even though I like Bill, he's going to have a tough time running today. And then all I got to say is JSN. If I can find anybody who can stop him right now in the NFL, you'd be hard pressed to. So I have Seattle in that one. Probably like what James said about 10 points, 7 to 10 points. Last but not least, we have the Arizona Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington Stadium. What is it called? Arlington AT&T Stadium, whatever that stadium is. AT&T Stadium. 3.5 point favorites the Cowboys are. Who do you got, James?
How about them Cowboys? I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys. I just think that the offense Dak and company. I know that did they come off a bad loss last week?
Yeah, to Denver.
Yeah, but this is not Denver's defense. I think I think we in the beginning of the season we were talking about Arizona as if they were gonna take some steps forward, and they just don't look good, man. I'm just thinking, yeah, they don't look good, and they're gonna go into Arlington and they're gonna lose royally. I think Dak is they're gonna bounce back with their offense. They got all their weapons there, and they should win. They should win maybe about 15 points or so.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like James and jump off the bandwagon the way he did with the Jets, picking them every week virtually to score an upset, and finally got fed up and didn't pick them against the Bengals.
And then they win. That's the key. That's the key, Jack. You don't pick them, they win.
James gets no credit. He jumps. I'm going to, we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, the 3-4-1 Dallas Cowboys who have a terrible defensive unit. I want to hear how about them Cowboys and Dak Prescott, who's had a great year except for last week. He was terrible against Denver. I want to hear about the Denver defense in itself. He made some terrible decisions last week, Dak Prescott, but he's entitled to have an off game now and then, as long as he doesn't have it in a playoff game if the Cowboys ever got there, which they're not going to this year. Arizona could win with Jacoby Brissett, at Dallas. Dallas shouldn't be scaring anyone because they're at Dallas. Arizona's so close to turning the corner, but they haven't turned the darn corner yet. At some point, they're going to do it. I don't know. It might be too late as far as the playoffs go, but they're going to turn the corner. Arizona, fairly high-scoring game, 30-27.
If they put up 30 points, man, that would be amazing enough.
Cowboys have a bad defense. Come on. It should shock you.
You're talking about, don't fear Dallas, but who's really fearing the Cardinals? I mean, they lost to a defeated team at that point, an 0-for team in Tennessee, and they basically gave them that game because of their misfit at home. At home. They did Atlanta Falcons at home. That's what they did, basically. And you're telling me that they're going to go into AT&T Stadium and beat the Cowboys? Dak is pretty, Dak didn't have an effective game last game because Denver's defense made him do some things. And that's a very good defense. Don't discount that. And all quarterbacks have problems with really good defenses. So I see him bouncing back against the Cardinals. Cardinals are just in shambles right now. I was the idiot that picked them to be second in this division. Whoops, that turned on me bad.
I picked them to win the division.
Well,
I think I'm picking them to be up there
so
too.
Bad now.
Yeah, I think I picked them to win too as well. If I recall. Yeah, not too good.
Well, I don't feel so bad. I picked them second, but that's fine. I don't feel bad now. But anyway, yeah, I got the Cowboys pretty much handling them in Monday night. So I think they'll probably win by 10 points too. They just don't have enough defense to me. They don't have enough offense. The Cardinals do right now. Their offense is all over. I mean, I know Kyler Murray's going to start. Oh, no. Brissett's going to start. And he's actually played pretty well in his role. Against Green Bay, he did a very good job. They just couldn't get it done on the defensive side. But he's a plausible quarterback. I like him. He's really good. But they don't have Connor. They're still relying. And they don't have their backup because their backup's out for the rest of the season. So, I mean, it's just they got Bam night.
Oh, Benson's out?
Yeah. Benson's out for the whole season, too.
And you think they're going to win this game, Jack?
Right. Then you can be able to run the ball.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dallas. You're looking at Dallas like they're all that. They're not. Dallas is terrible.
They're all that against the Cardinals, yes. They're not all that. Period, but they're all that against this team.
Jacoby Brissett filling in for Kyler Murray has been effective, very effective in a couple of games. He can do well against, a defense like Dallas is.
Dak is going to bounce back against this team.
Yeah,
come on, man.
Dax.
He's been on an MVP tear.
They'll give up a lot of points, though, the Cowboys as well.
I call this Jerry Maguire Bowl. The old Arizona versus Dallas games. Remember those?
Yes. But there's no Rod Tidwell. There's no Rod Tidwell.
No Rod Tidwell. No, don't show me the money.
Yes.
Yeah, they can still score a lot. Anyway, well, this is going to wrap up this show. Thank you again, James and Jack. I am BA. Everybody enjoy their football games today. If you watch, catch Jack tomorrow on the Keith and Jack show at 8 a.m. PM, 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Tomorrow we're coming on a little earlier. It's a one-day thing. We're coming on a little after 6 a.m. Eastern time live tomorrow morning, and then we'll replay the show at 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go.
It's a one-time thing why we're going to be live earlier.
Oh, good. I can catch the full show then.
Yeah.
Why would you want to watch it? To see all the bad
because of you, Jack. Because of you.
My bad predictions.
Because of you, Jack. That's why we're watching. You and Keith bantering.
Well, Keith isn't box office, you know. He's just efficient.
Oh. Keith is going to get you tomorrow.
Yes.
Also at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join Jack and Frank for Gloved Fist. We're having a special guest on there if they ever email me back. And
he'll be on. I'll be sure.
Okay.
Don't worry
about
that.
But I did. Yeah, we got all that taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, have a first good week until next time, folks. In November, a new month, Thanksgiving month. Everybody have a great day.